Hi, I'm Chelsea from the Truro Council on Aging, and today with us we have Jan Taylor from Get Lively and Chris Roderick. Hi, ladies. How are you today?
Chelsea, how are you?
Good. Thanks for joining us.
Wonderful to be here. I just wish I was actually in Truro.
I know. We wish you were here with us too. Yay. So tell us a little bit about what we're going to be talking about today.
Sure. So first of all, thank you so much for the invitation to do this. I love being able to do anything associated with my beloved hometown, and of course with people like you. And we just might point out that Chris Roderick is my mother. So wonderful to be in your company. So I have been hearing in my own practice as a health and fitness coach, lots of concerns and stressors that people are dealing with, of course, as we try and live in the age of a pandemic. What I find myself saying over and over again is, in response to clients saying, well, we just have to get through this. And I find myself saying over and over, we have to live through this. Our lives have not been put on pause. So when you approached me about doing this talk, I thought it would be really helpful to talk about how we can continue to live through this and how we can find ways to look for those moments of positivity and how we can create them, because it's very easy right now to just get dark and to get worried and to let the stress consume us and to hibernate. And
Yes.
that isn't going to help us live through this.
Yes.
So that is what I wanted to talk to you all about today.
Awesome. We look forward to you and your good energy and your good words. And yeah, I think it's going to be great. So thank you for your time.
My pleasure.
All right, let's get started.
So let's get right into this. So I will give a little bit more of an introduction about myself. I'm Jan Taylor. I am a health and fitness coach. I have a business here in Watertown. I have a studio, but I also work virtually with clients, whether it be for personal training, for health coaching, and people often call me their lifestyle coach, creating the life that they want for themselves. So sorry, and I must say I'm from Truro, as I mentioned earlier. So delighted to be here with all of you. What I wanted to talk to you about in today's topic was 3 of the main things that I'm hearing in the community right now as it relates to the challenges that people are facing in terms of living through versus just getting through this incredible time that we are living in. And 3 of the topics are this: fear. People are afraid. People are afraid, whether it's they are afraid of contracting it and getting sick because they have compromised health, or I know my own personal fear is transferring it to other people. So there is a real sense of fear around passing it along. And I also am, I know, feeling myself personally and hearing from people just a fear of and a suspicion of others, a suspicion and a fear of what others' choices are. So fear is the big overarching one. That's topic number 1 that we'll talk about. Number 2 is particularly for people who might not be working right now, people who are retired. Whatever the situation is where you may not be in a regular rhythm of things, it's finding purpose to your days. It can feel like one day just washes into the next. I actually hear this from stay-at-home moms as well, as they're trying to navigate, or parents that are staying at home. They're like, I just kind of float from one day to the next, trying to keep these kids somehow entertained. Or if you're retired, if you're fearful of leaving the house, or all of the programs, like the great things that you all do here at the COA, if that's not happening. So how do you find purpose? How do you anchor activities in your day? And then the third thing is, it's just hibernating and resisting making the effort to find safe activities. So we all want it. Most of us want it. Most of us want that human contact, and we want to interact and find ways to be together. But there is something so paralyzing about what we are living through that it can be very easy to just get caught on the couch with the clicker and let the days slip by without making an effort to call the person who you know it's safe for you to see or you feel safe seeing and say, hey, come sit on my picnic table and have a cup of coffee with me, or hey, can we go for a walk at Beach Forest, whatever it may be. So those are the three things that we're going to chat about today. But I wanted to ask, I am delighted again to have my mom with us. Is there anything that you would add to that, Mom? I know we actually talked about this in advance, but anything you would add to that?
Well, I totally like that you said we can't put our lives on pause, which is exactly what we're doing. It's exactly what I'm doing. And I know my friends and the people who I have contact with, we're forgetting to live through the days. We're just waiting for it to go away so that we can just go back to doing what we always did. And I really like that that you said it, and it kind of brought me up to, oh yeah, that's exactly what I do. And oh yeah, I'm supposed to be living my life, not waiting for this event to go away and to, begin again. So I really liked that. I really appreciated that.
Well, I'm so glad. And we will talk about this because it's very easy to see everything in life as black and white. As human beings, we tend to lean towards that anyway. I talk to my clients all the time about life is not an all or nothing endeavor. And now more than ever, I am hearing that. I know I am butting up against it myself. Where just as you're saying, your life was humming along and you were doing all your stuff. And now you just want to get back to that. So it's like, we're just falling into this blank space of let's just get through this so we can go back to that. And we don't know how many days we have. We have got to embrace every single one of them, whatever it is that's going on around us. So it's behoove us to now think about and proactively make decisions about how we are spending our time. Because first of all, there's no guarantee. We don't know what when this is over, there's some air quotes for you, when this is over will look like. So it's up to us to find ways to put purpose and joy in our days so that we can live each day regardless of what's going on. Now, I know it's going to look different and we're going to have to pull up our bootstraps and get a little creative. But what I wanted to start us with was a very simple exercise to share with you all some of the things that you can do to start being open to that perspective, because we have to consider, okay, but what can I do? And in order to open us to that, we're going to do something quick and simple here. So, and I'm looking at my notes, which is why you see me looking to the screen here. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I want everyone, and I know that people will be watching this on the replay, a scale of 1 to 10, how are you feeling right now as it relates to your life in the age of the coronavirus? So, you don't have to say it out loud, just whatever number is in your head. So just land on that. Now, I want everyone to repeat after me. First sentence. I am open to feeling differently.
I am open to feeling differently.
Wonderful. I am open to living my life right now.
I am open to living my life right now.
I am open to the idea that I can be happy now.
I am open to the idea that I can be happy now.
I am open to smiling.
I am open to smiling.
Now smile with me. Deep breath in. And let it out. All right, scale of 1 to 10. How do you feel right now? Just take that number.
Higher.
So, did it change?
Yes. Yes.
So one of the things that I a point that I have really been trying to drive home in my practice as of late is that we tend to discredit or discount or minimize simple things that can change our perspective and lift our mood. So I will hear things such as, yeah, but Jan, I can't deal with this until it's over. Like, I don't even want to deal with it. Well, but do you want to live a life of just passing your days by? I don't think so. So we have got to proactively take steps to do things to help start expanding our view of what life can be right now. So that very simple exercise, start the day, write those things on a card. I am open to life feeling differently. So expand your view of, I know I'm fearful and I'm feeling boxed in right now, but I am open to feeling differently about this. Think about the expanse of all that one can do in life right now. I am open to living my life right now. And that means, what do you feel safe doing and how are you going to engage in those activities? I am open to the idea that I can be happy now. Look, the joy is within all of us. We can find ways to nurture that and let it shine through. I am open to the idea that I can be happy right now. And finally, I am open to smiling. Now, this one I particularly struggle with because of the mask. And I know we got to wear them, but man, it's like I am just trying to smile my way through these masks. But we can smile at ourselves. We can smile in the mirror. We can smile on Zoom. It lifts your energy. Smile to yourself. So very simple thing to do. Start your day. Maybe if you feel yourself down, 4 simple things to say that can start to open you up to, right, okay, we just have to let a crack of light shine in. We've been at this for about 6 months now. And we, for the most part, a lot of people are adopting that, got to just get through it mindset. That's closing the book on opportunity. When we say we just have to get through something, we're closing the book on opportunity. We want to open that book up. We want to think about and live into what our options are of things that we all can be doing right now that feel meaningful. So, little exercise right there. What do you think about that?
I think that's a great idea. That actually that makes sense. I mean, we have to live in the moment because that's all we have. And even with the smiling, with the masks, when you smile, your eyes smile.
And
your eyes smile. So yes.
Right. So something simple that can be done there. So let's move into the discussion around fear, because we talked about this. This is really what is so paralyzing in so many ways, because whatever angle we are more fearful of, I see 2 camps. I see people that are terrified to get it themselves. I see those that are more afraid of somehow being the carrier of it and passing it on to other people. So this is what I want you to consider as it relates to fear. Do you want to let fear run your life right now? I mean, that's the question that we've got to ask ourselves, because we tend to default into giving our control away to it and then just letting that, the momentum of fear build and build and build. So if we are spending our days waking up worried, putting on the news, watching all of the horror stories and analyzing the numbers and reading all of the headlines, if we are staying in that cycle and just letting the worry build and build, isolating more and more, well, we've turned our lives over to fear. And first, the question I want everyone to ask themselves is that the life I want? I'm going to venture to guess that most people are going to say no. So then we have got to make mindful choices about the role that fear is going to play in our lives. So there is a difference between being worried and being informed. And that is how I want you to break the fear down. We know we're afraid of the virus. Okay. Now, am I going to consume information so that I can perpetuate my worry? Or am I going to consume information in a thoughtful and mindful way so that I stay informed and then I let it sit, okay? That I don't just fuel that worry, that fear train all day. We've got to make decisions about what we feel comfortable and safe doing, okay? So maybe you feel comfortable going outside for a walk. You can find a space to go when you're alone or just with someone that you've been with, and partake in activities where you feel, okay, I'm letting that worry cycle go for this activity, and I'm going to focus on feeling safe in it. I'm in the woods. I've got a mask on if that's how I feel comfortable. No one else is around. I'm going to enjoy the fresh air. I'm going to let that fear take a side seat, and I'm informed, but I'm going to participate in activity. So we've got to make choices about the role we want fear to play in our lives, because it's very easy to just surrender to it and then just obsess over the headlines day in and day out. So I encourage everyone to think about, do you want to be worried or do you want to be informed? Yeah, we want to stay informed, but there is a limit to that. That doesn't mean constantly scrolling the headlines and analyzing the numbers. It's being aware of your surroundings. It's making choices about what you feel safe doing. But then we've got to say, okay, now I'm going to go and live my life for the day. So that is, I think that so many people get caught in a cycle of just letting fear take over their lives without realizing they have a choice in it. Like, you get to choose the role that fear plays for you. You can let fear make all your decisions, or you can say, all right, I am not comfortable doing X, Y, and Z, but I am comfortable doing A, B, and C. So when I am engaging in those activities, or I'm going to engage in those activities, I'm going to let fear just side sit here. I'm not going to do those things, but I'm going to make choices to do the stuff that I know I can engage in and not just spend my days worrying. So does that resonate?
Yes, and that's making me think of, how you say to yourself, okay, I'm going to take a walk. I'm going to go walk on the track behind the COA. And there's a difference in your mindset, is that, oh my God, is there going to be people over there? Are they going to talk to me? Or, you wear your mask, you do the safety procedures, and then you go over and you enjoy walking in the sunshine and looking at the sky and hearing the birds and knowing that, okay, I'm alive and I'm feeling good right now. Yeah. Rather than saying, oh my God, here comes somebody. Oh, there's somebody over there. It's, you make the choice.
And it comes down to, how much of a role do you want fear to play in your life? Because fear will take over everything if you allow it.
Absolutely.
So that as it comes to fear, it's asking yourself, what role am I willing to let fear play in my life? And then looking at your mindset and your thought process and trying to break down the difference between being worried and informed, and then making decisions based on being informed. So that is what I wanted to talk about, fear. Now, the next thing that we spoke about was purpose. And this particularly, I know I'm speaking to a retired community here at the Council on Aging. So, I can't begin to imagine how challenging it is to have your activities pulled away and everything that you had when you retire, or you get to a point in life where perhaps you don't have as many obligations throughout the day. You start to create a new routine. And I know many of you, particularly with all the great programming and exercise classes you guys do at the Council on Aging in Truro, I know that a lot of you have a really great routine going, and that has shifted dramatically. Of course, you can't go in person. I know you guys are really trying to make an effort and do things on Zoom, which I think is great, but there's technology challenges. It might not work for everyone. But it doesn't mean that there's nothing. It's like we have to find ways. We have to make decisions about what is it that I want to do with this day? You have got to give purpose and routine to your day. And now, again, this is not an all or nothing. This isn't okay, well, Jan says I have to put purpose to my day, so next week I have to have 15 things scheduled throughout the week. Not at all. We have to find little ways to anchor activities into our days so that we start to have a flow. Like, we are creatures who love routines. And that routine might be when I wake up, I say those 4 things that we started about. Perhaps I write down a positive experience that I had the day before. Maybe that routine is I sit outside on beautiful days and have my coffee and start my day being very aware of the sensory experience. What am I hearing? What am I smelling? What am I seeing? What am I feeling on my skin? What am I sensing around me? These can be very small experiences or activities that you create for yourself, but they start to anchor your day. Maybe at lunchtime, you decide, hey, once a week, I'm gonna Zoom and eat lunch with one of my buddies. We're gonna get on Zoom and we're gonna say like, okay, Denise, at noon, we're gonna Zoom and we're gonna eat our sandwiches together and we're gonna chit chat. Because Zoom one-on-one is a heck of a lot easier in a group. I know groups, it's not exactly the same as being in person, but one-on-one, you can have a nice experience there. Maybe in the afternoon, you set 3 o'clock as your time to read with a cup of tea. So rather than just leaving your days open to what am I going to do? Well, suddenly now you have a morning activity. Then you've got your Zoom workout. Then you've got, hey, I'm going to chat with a friend on Wednesdays over lunch. In the afternoon is my reading time, not just, well, I have the whole day, I could read anytime. When you start to create a schedule for yourself, your days feel more purposeful. You know, the other thing that I would really encourage people to look at is there are lots of organizations where you can volunteer and do things that are done in the home. So maybe you are knitting blankets for homeless children that are born, like babies that are born into homeless situations. There's all kinds of organizations that need our help, that you go online, and maybe this is something that the COA could even help identify an organization that people could be doing at home. You guys can all be knitting on your Zoom screens and put some purpose into activities that you're doing. So these are just a couple of ideas, but what is going to help you feel like your day has meaning and that you're living versus just coasting through this is creating a schedule for yourself and putting routines in place. And again, not discounting how small something may seem. Or it's not insignificant to schedule a lunch date once a week. It gives you something to look forward to. So thoughts on that, my dear participant?
Yes, that's great. I mean, having been just retired, and I mean, when you're working, your schedule is made for you. You do it. And then when you retire, it's like, oh my gosh, I have to do this myself. And it's great when you can, like you say, count the small things. Okay, I'm going to sit on the front step and have my coffee in the morning and listen to the birds. And, you know, and then go on for that. Okay, one day I'll knit some stuff, or another day I'll call up a friend. And giving yourself permission to sit down at 3 o'clock and have that cup of tea and get out your Kindle and read a magazine. You know, lots of times we say to ourselves, oh, that's just wasting time. Well, it really isn't if you enjoy reading a magazine. I mean, that's an activity that's worthwhile. But you have to remind yourself that it's okay.
That's
yes.
Right. And particularly when you are thoughtful about this is my 3 o'clock activity. Like, my routine is that, hey, some people it's happy hour, whatever it's going to be, but 3 o'clock, I'm going to make that cup of tea. I'm going to get cozy in my chair. And I know for the next hour, I'm going to peruse this magazine or I'm going to read a book. It feels more purposeful than, oh, what am I going to do this afternoon? Oh, I'm just going to be lazy and leaf through a magazine. No. Create the experience for yourself within the parameters of what you're comfortable doing.
Right.
So it's just flipping the lens on why you're doing something and putting intention behind it versus feeling like there's just this smattering of activities you kind of slide in and out of. So being purposeful. You know, the other thing that I wrote down in my notes, which is creating the motivation to do all these things. I know for you, getting a Fitbit recently has been a great way for you. It's like another thing it's like a level of awareness that, oh, I've got to do this, this, and that. And so it starts to help bring some momentum into the days. So I think I know that that's worked really well for you. And as we've been discovering more and more the things that you can track and that you find motivating, it's a wonderful way to make the days feel like they have rhythm. Also keeps you moving. Like, gosh, talking about routine and purpose to your day, moving. We have got to keep moving. And whatever that looks like, that might be stretching in a chair, that might be walking around the house, that might be going to the track at the COA, whatever it is. I know you guys are great with your Zoom exercise classes. You want to find movement in every single day. Look at the week, schedule it in. So you'll start to feel a greater sense of purpose in doing so. And I kicked off by saying, don't discredit or discount these small gestures because they really do add up to more. So if on Sunday you look at your week and you say, well, my exercise classes are these days, and I know I have these things going on these days, and this is the day we're going to go walk the track, and this is the day I'm going to have lunch with someone, you start to look at your week and feel like there's an excitement to it. There's energy to it versus just coasting into it. So I encourage you all to think about that. So let's see, we've got about 5 minutes left here. The last topic that I wanted to talk about, and again, this is all about being aware of how we're acting and responding, what our behaviors are that we're exhibiting right now. And this is the topic of avoidance. So again, it's very easy to hibernate now and adopt the mindset that I just got to get through this and then I'll come back out amongst the living. Well, no, you are amongst the living, like it's now. And so sometimes we've got to push our comfort level a little bit. Sometimes we've got to be more proactive and make the effort to interact with people. So if there are people that you are feeling safe being around, proactively reach out to them and say, hey, come over for a cup of coffee, or want to stop by, going to be sitting in the yard and I'm having a cup of tea in the afternoon, come by. What can you do to proactively reach out to people? And again, if it's more comfortable on Zoom, go ahead and do it on Zoom. But much like, remember how we all used to call people on the telephone? And then suddenly we started texting and now no one picks up the phone and calls people. They text and say, can I call you? And then they call. So we've developed this strange barrier, fear, feeling like we're bothering people around picking up the phone. Pick up the phone. Pick up the phone and call someone, chat on the phone. Pick up the phone and invite someone over that you feel comfortable being around. And call yourself to it. Guys, we're the only ones that can live our lives. Like, we're the only ones that can make things happen. And sure, it might feel a little bit uncomfortable. You might feel like, oh, I don't want to bother so-and-so. I guarantee you that person on the other end is going to be delighted, most likely, depending on who it might be, is going to be delighted that you're picking up the phone and calling them and making the effort to have human interaction. So I would really call yourself to the task on, all right, where am I tucking into my turtle shell when I know that there's things that I can do that with a little bit of effort, gosh, it's going to fuel me so much to have an hour in the sun talking to this person over a cup of tea. So avoidance, that's a big one. This life is worth living. So how are you going to live it? So in conclusion, questioning your fear. What role are you allowing fear to play in your life? And dissecting the worry versus the staying informed as it relates to consuming media. Purpose. How are you putting purpose into your days? and then being really aware of where you're playing avoidance games and you're avoiding reaching out just because it's gotten real comfortable in that turtle shell. So I invite you all to think about that, and I invite you all to use those 4 questions or those 4 statements that we started with as a way to kickstart your day. I can email them to Chelsea, and perhaps she can include them in the post when she sends this back out on the replay. But very simple. I'm open to life feeling differently. I'm open to living my life right now. I'm open to the idea that I can be happy right now. I am open to smiling. So why don't we just wrap it all up with a big smile. Oh, Chelsea, great timing.
Chelsea has the best smile.
Thanks. You're awesome. Thanks, Jan.
Oh, thank you. This
just gave me such a better outlook on all of this, and your energy is just amazing, and I admire it and appreciate it.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity. Mom, thank you so much for being my panelist.
Thank you, Chris.
Yes.
You guys are a good team. Thanks.
Yes, we are.
Thanks again, girls.
All right.
Okay.
Take care.
Okay.